sure that it's recordable.
Yep.
And we're mentioning spoilers. Mm-hmm. Okay.
5 seconds.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm Frankie-san.
No, Mark.
We have a couple quick announcements. First of all, you want to tell them about the channel?
Yes, for everybody who's still interested in watching us live, I know everybody's interested. We're on, if you want to watch it live, we're in Lifestyles, Channel 2 Spectrum, Channel 56, and 1996, Vios, Channel 34, RCN 83. You can see us live, and if you want to see us on the internet live, it's mnn.org. Web Channel 2, Lifestyles 2, and that's Lifestyles channel.
Okay, now you might be wondering, why am I holding up this phone here? Well, right now I'm recording on Instagram. Let's go to that site. So what happened was Google decided to knock down my Godzilla community site and my blog. So now we moved on, and Instagram is where you're going to find us. I'm doing this live to show everybody that we're on live on Saturdays at 5 p.m. Okay, so that's the Instagram site. And then, of course, since we're going to be talking about Endgame, going to be spoilers. If you don't want to hear about the spoilers, you can go to our YouTube site right there. And what we do is it takes about 24 to 48 hours. We do the show. We end at 5:30. I go home and edit whatever needs to be. And it gets popped up on YouTube permanently. So tonight we're going to talk about Endgame with spoilers. You don't want to see that, hear that. The show will be posted by Monday morning, and you can catch up with us over there. Okay, so I'm going to shut this down, and let's get to the live show. Mark over here is going to give his review, then I give my review. What do you think about the movie?
It was just fine. It was great. I mean, it was 100% fan service. The people, I would say, at Disney and Marvel knew what the fans wanted, and they sort of put everything that they thought the fans would want. You know, they comparatively, like I said, all this is going to be spoilers. They did it almost like a hero's journey, and they heard the fans. The fans wanted everyone to know that thanks to Robert Downey Jr. I'm going to hold up, if you can see him. He's the guy who built this studio. You know, it's his. To tell you the truth, it's his franchise. If it wasn't for him in creating Iron Man and you know, making it a strong franchise that it was, thanks to Iron Man succeeding, because it was all on his back. Like they said, if you hear the interviews in the back, they say they didn't really have a script. Most of the actors were like shocked and surprised, and they didn't know what they were supposed to do. But a lot of Robert Downey Jr. was off the dome. He was just off the cuff, doing really quick, and I think they sort of paid tribute to him, let him get a lot of the accolades, and it became sort of his hero's journey from beginning to the end.
Well, also Captain America. Two things. The last show, you said you got tickets ahead of time, and you were kind of iffy. You don't know if you're going to enjoy it, but you were surprised.
Of all the things I heard, I wasn't sure whether or not they were going to pay respect to Robert Downey Jr., because this is really his baby. I think, and I was saying going forward, I know they have to change him because they're paying him so much money. I don't even know how much money.
That's the thing. Last time we mentioned about salaries. Yeah. Altogether, minus this picture. For example, he only worked 3 days on, what was it, Spider-Man, a movie? 3 days, and he collected about $20 million. So, Disney said, okay, enough of that. Wow. Up to that point, He made over $200 million in salary. Personally, I think he earned it. There was an article in Variety magazine this weekend because he got nominated for Charlie Chaplin, Best Actor, and he got nominated for Best Supporting Actor, playing the dude. What do you mean, my people? For Tropic Thunder. So, so he's got 2 nominations. That's the nomination. So he deserves it.
Yes.
Okay, now I'm going to put this down because my arm is starting to hurt. Wow, okay. For anybody who tuned in, thank you. You'll see the full show on YouTube on Monday. Okay, let me put this down. Anyway, that's the end of the live portion of our show. Okay, and whoop.
Yeah, because I also saw breakdowns. I always like to go to YouTube and see the breakdown and their take. And I even told you about some of the YouTube shows out there that gave a good breakdown, and they talked a lot of the comparisons between this script and some other possible shows. But we'll get to that later.
No, one little footnote because I want to jump on that because as far as the salary goes, he made over $200 million in the franchise minus this one. He got extra points. If the picture crosses $1 billion mark, he's going to get another check on top of the check that he got originally when they extended his contract for Endgame. Because what happened was Endgame and Infinity War were both recorded at the same time. So, it's known as like one movie as far as the contract goes for the actors.
Right.
Okay, so he got that paycheck.
I agree he should get it, but I'm just surprised he wasn't even getting more from the beginning. Because remember what they did with Batman and Jack Nicholson? From the first movie, they gave him points. And then they said, going forward, we're going to be giving you more points if you're in this movie.
Only because he's an Academy Award winner and he had a very good, smart agent at that time. Okay. A lot of other studios want to put a stop to that. That's another reason why basically they had to end Iron Man because they can't afford Robert Downey Jr. anymore. They're trying to save money on the budget, which I think is kind of ridiculous. What I love about the Russo brothers, a lot of people complain about Civil War. I remember it was in the comic books that in Civil War you saw at least 100 people on each team fighting, right? They couldn't afford the budget. So we got about 8-10 guys on each team, something like that.
I can't believe it. They couldn't get secondary superheroes.
Yeah, this time the Russo brothers made it up for this one.
Look, they got Daredevil out there. Like they were saying, they got Daredevil, they have Power Fist, the Punisher. They have all these superheroes that are not even being used.
Well, now they're going to use them. That's one of Marvel's plans. That since they're going to retire these actors, and because the salaries are getting too outrageous, Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth,
yes,
Captain America, Thor. Okay, let's go back to my review real quick. I loved it. 5 out of 5. Time travel, science fiction, comic books. You can't get any better. You got the grand big fiasco fight of all time. Everybody showed up. Even Howard the Duck. As a matter of fact, talking about things that we saw on YouTube video that you're going to bring up right now. Kevin Smith went to the premiere, on Thursday, and he put a full 1 hour and 20-minute video talking about the whole movie from beginning to end. So by Friday, all the spoilers were out. So that's why we're talking about the spoilers. Everybody thought Captain America was going to die. No, it turns out to be Iron Man. And what I loved about the movie, Iron Man meets his father. Thor meets his mother. My favorite was Captain America. He went back to his old girlfriend. What was her name? Peggy?
Carter. Peggy Carter.
Peggy.
And yet he went back to his old girlfriend, which is, funny because wasn't he dating her niece? Didn't they have a big makeout session? Weren't they going out? Weren't they?
Yeah, because Peggy was not around. Or something like that. But anyway, I love the last shot. It ended in a very smooth shot, very simple shot, but really effective.
To me, this sounds like if you're the stepfather of some person's daughter who's a dateable age, all of a sudden you say, the mother's not looking that hot anymore.
You're reading too much into it. It's just a comic book. But anyway, Howard the Duck does make an appearance at the end. Not at the end, I'm saying at the end fight in the big game. They threw everybody in there. I really got no complaints because the Russo brothers did Captain America. I spent the past couple of days going through all these films.
War?
Yeah, Civil War. And if you look at it now, the editing was really fanatic. I mean, jump cut, camera jumping up and down, and I couldn't believe the Russo brothers. It's like it has a completely different style compared to Captain America. Now, quick box office because Mark here he wants to say a couple of things. Okay, I had a whole script here and that I wrote yesterday, my second page. Out the window. The numbers are changing incredibly fast for the box office. Right now, after this weekend, it's going to beat Star Wars for the second biggest picture of all time.
I would think.
Yeah. Now, the only thing that matters right now, it's still number one in the U.S. all time. It's going to beat it about another couple days. It's getting to it. It's guaranteed. The big thing
Yeah, 'cause
now,
it's only the second week, right?
second week. The third week is going
Good.
to it's going to count.
Okay.
The third weekend. It's going to need to beat Avatar for 700 million. And the rate it is going now, when we come back in 2 weeks, it should be tied or it's going to beat Avatar. All that matters right now at the box office is if Endgame is going to be number 2 or number 1. It's already in the top 5. In fact, let me just say this real quick. It's going to be Black Panther. No, let me go backwards. Okay, Force Awakens. First it was Jurassic Park. Jurassic World, number 2, excuse me. Okay. Then it's going to beat Infinity War, Black Panther, Avatar in the U.S., and then The Force Awakens for 936. It's creeping on Star Wars. By next weekend, we're going to find out if it's going to beat Avatar or not. It's already made $2.1 million in 1 week. From one Friday to yesterday's boxes to one Friday, one business week, 2.1, and another week or so, it's going to probably beat Avatar. So that's what everybody's waiting for. Which one is that?
No, I was just going to say, and you got to remember, if you put in the context of Avatar, Avatar had that marketing ploy where they were recommending you see it in 3D IMAX.
Right.
So 3D IMAX jumped that price. I think a ticket was $24 for
Yeah, it still is.
And then recently now they're saying, hey, see Endgame in IMAX the way it was supposed to be. And the commercials coming out, it's going to be 25% bigger.
Whatever that means.
Yeah.
It's a marketing
25
ploy.
doesn't mean anything.
Well, the reason Avatar hit so big a long time ago because it was a whole new gimmick with 3D.
Yeah.
And
The
IMAX
ticket
and
alone was
everything.
$24.
Yeah. Now they got a digital 3D IMAX, whatever that means. Okay, so
That means more money.
More money. So that's what a lot of people went with regular 2D, and now it's getting repeat performance. That's what's going to make Endgame number 1. And believe it or not, a lot of people complain about 3 hours. I was one of them. Civil War minus the end credits clocks in about 2 hours and 20 minutes. Actually, just an extra 20-25 minutes tagged onto this movie because of the end credits is about 15 minutes long. But let's talk about similarities because I know you want to mention Voyager. Here's the funny thing about it. My phone is kicking off. Okay,
shoot.
No, that's everybody joining your stories. That's what's happening.
That's
Yeah, which is good. Thank you, everybody.
We love you.
No, I just lost my train of thought.
Voyager, you said Voyager.
Right. The ending. They showed the names of the actors and they showed their picture. Then at the very end, the top stars, Thor, Captain America, Hulk, they had the signature over their faces.
Yeah. Well, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, they got that from Undiscovered Country, Star Trek. That's how the ending ended.
I know. Don't you remember how we always saying that a lot of it marries into itself?
Yeah.
They're interweaving constantly. Bam, bam. It's sort of like Star Wars, Star Trek. Even though it's like Star Trek was the grandfather of it all.
Right.
And it took itself from Westerns. It was space cowboys. And now everybody sort of like uses that. Star Trek. They completely use it and build upon it. Star Wars built upon it. Marvel built upon it. Because they from going to Earth, all of a sudden they decided to go to space.
Yeah. Well, that's
like everybody does. That's your last voyage to space.
Well, that's why we're waiting for Fast and the Furious. In space, yeah. I mean,
I can't wait till they make a spaceship and then they become like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. I mean, they've even said that they're going to send Machete.
Yeah,
into space. And then shove everybody into outer
shove
space.
them in space.
But I mean, I love that ending. Just Captain America and his girl there dancing, and the film fades, and then they go into those credits. I thought that was, even though it was kind of a rip-off on Discovered Country, I thought it was very classy the way they ended. And everybody says there's no eggs after the credits. If you stuck at the end, there was one. The final, copyright 2019 Disney Marvel picture. Then all of a sudden the Marvel logo comes up, and you hear clank, clank, clank for from the first Iron Man movie.
Right.
And then, boom. Okay, everybody, get the hell out of the thing now. I thought that was very clever. There was one little egg at the very end of the credits. Me, I got no complaints except for maybe half a point, maybe a quarter of a point. Okay, let's say 4.9 out of 5. I still don't like that story about Nubela and Gamora.
Gamora, yeah.
The two sisters.
Yeah, who cares?
They went into that again. It's like, but that was, let you know now, that was my bathroom break.
Yeah, because that's the way they stretch it. You know, when they put drama in things, they stretch it. They needed to stretch it because CGI costs money.
Right.
So they dump in drama because drama stretches it and it becomes the filler. It becomes like the 500 pages in a book that only needed like maybe 200 pages.
Yeah. Well, also they had to go through that Thanos plot point where, I did succeed. So let's go get the stones because I know I'm going to succeed. And then he finds out he doesn't succeed, right, with the snap there. But let's do comparisons. We both loved the movie, so that's the end of that.
Yeah.
I have no problem the movie beating Star Wars or Avatar. I mean, we're Star Wars fans, but let's face it.
These two movies are movies that I would not, want to sit down and really want to see again. But there's other movies that do sit down. And that's fine. You can buy them. But I'm just saying, these aren't films like I would want to sit down and see again because they're sort of the magic trick. You see it once. It's sort of like what they say with Games of Thrones. Once you know your favorite character is going to die, you're not interested anymore. Like, okay, I know he's going to die. I'm not going to see this again.
Well, they're talking about Game of Thrones, and they said there's going to be a new generation that's going back to the season 1 and rediscovering the whole thing again. So I think it's still playable for one. I mean, we all know what happened to Anakin Skywalker. He turns into Darth Vader, but, everybody went back to see how that happened, right?
So yeah, because everybody loved the Darth Vader character. He in reality stole the whole show. He stole Star Wars. He was basically the linchpin of Star Wars. James Earl Jones alone, helped create this character. He crafted a character that had nothing to do with the actor inside the costume. That's why a lot of these actors are afraid that they can be replaced. It happened in Vendetta when they replaced, I think it was one actor with another actor. I think the original was maybe Viggo Mortensen, and then they put someone else. Maybe they put Viggo Mortensen. But it's the same thing they did with, what do you call that, the Red Skull. It's not the same actor who was in the original movie.
Right, it was Hugo Weaver.
Yeah, he was the original. Yeah, he was the original.
Some other actor took it.
And he got mad. He was like, I don't even care, or whatever they said about him. I'm not sure if this is true, but I don't know. They decided not to give him a paycheck anymore, and they just replaced him. It's like, look, he's a guy in a mask. Anybody could do that.
Yeah.
And they did.
Harry Potter, Dumbledore. It was I forget there was it was a famous actor, of course. What was the name? He hanged out with Richard Burton and Peter O'Toole. He sang MacArthur. Richard Harris, great actor. He did Dumbledore for 2 years, actually 2 movies, and he died of a heart attack, whatever. And they replaced him, and it didn't matter. Because it's an old man with a beard, so they replaced with another Shakespeare actor. So
it's like replacing Santa Claus.
Yeah, I mean they even got around to Terry Gilliam, that movie that he did, something about insane asylum. I think Heath Ledger had the part, and then Jude Law took over, something like that, or Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I know the movie. It's like
the
Magnificent World of something.
Exactly right. The actor died, and they all of a sudden he goes through a time portal, and
he changes or whatever.
Another actor took his place and said, I went to a point.
But I'm saying it's easier to do if someone has a mask on.
Yeah.
Right? If, like, for example, Batman, that's why they keep doing Batman, because Batman, I don't know, maybe a lot of people get offended, but Batman is basically a guy in a costume. The thing you want to see is you want to see that costume do the fighting. You're really interested in the costume. You're invested in the costume. You're not invested in who's going to play Bruce Wayne.
Right.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Everybody keeps saying, Michael Keaton was the best Batman.
He was awful.
He was awful.
Yeah.
But people still want to be convinced. I think that's the hype train. And even as
people in denial.
Even as Bruce Wayne, I thought he was terrible. His worst scene was when he tried to say, "Oh, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts." I'm like, oh no, Bruce Wayne would never do that.
Yeah, exactly. A
That's
complete
just so
character.
stupid.
But anyway, just a quick mention. We're gonna continue this topic because we're gonna see if it's gonna beat Avatar. And right now, it looks like it's gonna do it as the biggest picture of all time. Some movie preview. Right now, Endgame has no competition. Says Rogan movie opened up in 2 weeks. Aladdin is coming out. Will Smith as replacing Robert. Yeah, replacing Robert Williams can't do it.
It reminds me of that Andrew Dice Clay joke about Little Miss Tuffet. Hey, he did it for the money.
Yeah, that's about it.
I don't know why he did that, but I guess
This was the weekend edition for May 4th. So, sorry, Star Wars fans, we lost Chewbacca. He passed away. And now,
yeah. How can they replace him?
yeah, and what they did? They replaced him. You know, he retired already. So,
Yeah. He's a guy in a costume, so
yeah. So,
6 foot tall guy.
yeah, I mean, they got some young guy, some Swedish guy or something like that. He's just as tall.
Yeah.
But
If not, they find somebody in stilts.
yeah, but well, Star Wars fans, it's a bummer. We lost Chewbacca, and Star Wars is going to lose his number 1 position. Oh well, may the 4th be with you.
Well,
what can I say?
Force yourself.
Yeah, well, but let me tell you, what's happening this year, we're losing a couple major franchises. Gotham, the TV show, the lowest rated ever. That episode, nobody tuned in to see the final episode.
Aw.
Goodbye.
Wait, Batman shows up, right?
Yeah, he shows up. You see you see the back of Batman.
No, they show him at one point from far away.
From
and then
far
they
away, yeah.
zoom into him,
The-
and then you see it's Batman.
It was so quick. You actually see the back of his head, and then the show ends like that. I mean, it was a total jip. But no ratings whatsoever. Less than like 500,000.
Well, people want to see Batman.
Yeah,
Why
the
you gonna
the rumors were already out. You're
Yeah,
not gonna see. He
why
has a
would you
cameo
make
at the very
show
end.
with no Batman. It's sort of like doing Smallville, and Superman doesn't show up.
Well, yeah, exactly. Same thing happened with Smallville. All I know is I worked on 3 days on it. I got to work with the Penguin. It was a great experience. Okay, at the studio. Big Bang Theory. 3 episodes left. Goodbye. Have you seen the past couple shows? Not funny.
No, I
You gave up on it.
Yeah, I gave up on it a long time ago. That's why no one watches television.
Yeah, exactly.
TV kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Pardon my French.
Okay. Okay, we're losing Game of Thrones. We're halfway through the season.
Hey,
I haven't seen any episodes.
I didn't have cable. I couldn't afford HBO. And as soon as I thought it was going to be something serious, but as soon as, I thought they was going to develop a script, but as soon as they put in dragons, and I heard they were going to put in these dragons, I'm like, no thank you, I'm tapping out.
That's the reason I started seeing it, because of the dragons. The dragons make the whole show. I'm sorry, man. I'm a dragon fan. And we will be talking about dragons. We'll be talking on the next episode. We're going to still continue about this and talk about Godzilla, King of the Monsters, because we got King Ghidorah. Okay, and as a matter of fact, they did a version of Godzilla with King Ghidorah where they used time travel. We're going to be talking more about the time travel aspects in the next episode, because we can only squeeze so much. And, of course, the other franchise, Endgame, the end of chapter of Avengers. We're going to see what kind of other Avengers they're going to put in. And, of course, Star Wars. What a way to end the year. Hopefully, JJ going to pull out all the stops.
You gonna do fan service?
That's
what he's going to do. He's going to probably do a fan service movie. Everybody's going to think it's great, even though it's just going to be a lot of fan service. And, just placate to the audience. Don't worry about coming up with a script. Just placate.
Well, it's gonna be a kind of like a remake of Return of the Jedi. Like the last movie was based on Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, well.
So
you see that.
We're gonna end the year on a bummer. Let's face it, okay?
It just goes to show you that Lucas had a good idea when he hired the writer-director for Empire Strikes Back, and then he fires him from Return of the Jedi, and then he decides, I'm going to do this, and then he does it and ruins it, because then he has to do a repeat of the first Star Wars instead of, coming up with something almost a different scenario.
Well, you're talking about Return of the Jedi?
Yeah, because Return of the Jedi, where they have to destroy...
And he didn't direct it. That was Richard Marquand.
Yeah, but he fired the Empire Strikes Back director
Kushner.
who's taking it to a different path that was going great. he fires him and decides to take over the project, even though he hires a director. He's basically decides to do the same thing he did on Star Wars to do it again. Like, let's blow up the Death Star.
Yeah. Well, he wanted.
Oh, really? Yep.
He wanted to do it
They
his
do
way.
that again.
He wanted to do it his way with the Phantom Menace trilogy, and he kind of ruined that. And that's why Disney brought the franchise. And he wanted to go back to for the last trilogy, last 3 films. He wanted to go back and talk about the midichlorians, whatever. And Disney said, "Hell no, you're not going in that direction." So he's his own worst enemy.
Yes.
So
Everybody becomes their own worst enemy eventually.
yeah, so now with the new Star Wars here, they got JJ back, but this time Lucas actually has input and said, how do you vision for this franchise to end? And he finally is going to put his ideas in of what he wanted, how the trilogy to end. And so now it's going to be a JJ with some input from George Lucas. Whatever case scenario it turns out to be, it's got to be better than Last Jedi.
Oh yeah, it's just,
Jedi's
they know what
just
to do. They're just going to do fan service, and we're all going to submit.
Well, let me tell you, this is another reason. And if you hear the people talking on the social networks, and you hear the comments, read the comments, and everything like that, a lot of people were pissed off with the way Jedi went, and that's why they're embracing Endgame, and people going back and repeat. I saw the film twice already, believe it or not, because the whole time travel. I just love time travel. A conversation, you can never win that.
Do you want to talk about how, like, I watched this one program on YouTube. I'm going to give credit to them because they're the ones who first picked it out, because I'm not a big Star Trek fan. And I remember you were saying you were a big Voyager fan?
No.
Okay,
that was the one franchise.
Deep Space Nine guy.
Next
Which one were you?
Next Generation and DS9.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Voyager I was not into.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
and I had up into Enterprise.
Right, because I think I even spoke to a Voyager fan, and he said it's pretty much true. I watched this other friends on YouTube. They're called Half in a Bag. They're pretty good. They broke it down and said, hey, they lifted this from Voyager Endgame. And I'm like, really?
The last episode of the last season of Voyager, Captain Janeway, they flash forward. Voyager goes back to Earth. They lose not Janeway. They lose 709,
yeah,
whatever.
709.
And they lose somebody else. And she said, I don't like the way.
The Chakotay.
Chakotay.
Because he dies, I think, of a broken heart or something.
Some shit like that. And she said, I don't like the way this timeline went.
Yeah,
so
20 years later, they find their way, but
she wants to go. She goes back in time.
She steals the device, goes back in time.
And then what you call it? And then she confronts the board queen. And that episode was called Endgame.
Yeah, she
and it had to do.
that.
Yeah, and she sacrifices herself.
Like Robert Downey Jr.
Right, and then she changes the whole timeline.
Yes.
But she doesn't snap her fingers.
Nope.
She eliminates the Borg.
Mm-hmm.
And
then as one Borg goes through the what do you call that? The
wormhole or something?
The wormhole, whatever the contraption the Borg. All the Federation ships are there to greet in this big fight, blow, destruction, boom, boom, pew, 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 pew.
Yeah.
Happens. Well, we got 30 seconds.
Well, folks, we're going to continue Endgame. We can see if we're going to take out the #1 picture of all time, Avatar. And then we're going to start talking more, getting ready for Godzilla. Everybody, the show will be on YouTube in 48 hours, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Enjoy Endgame if you haven't.
Yeah, might as well.
And that's about it. Thank you, everybody.
That's all, folks.
We covered a lot. Anything I didn't cover? Oh, movies about time travel. Yeah. Okay, we say that.